Hey, welcome back to another episode of Confessions of a Begonia Addict, Tales of Obsession. So in my last episode, I mentioned that, summer was on its way, it was approaching, probably wouldn't see much in the way of begonias as far as another series. But, well, I'm a little obsessed. And recently I visited a place called Plant LLC, owned and operated by Shayne Chandler, a collector of begonias and Cold Hardy Begonias. So in this episode, I'm gonna introduce you to at least two specific begonias that should be cold hardy in my climate. And then I'm gonna give you a quick tour around my yard to show you where I've got cold hardy begonias, how they've wintered over from last year, so you can see kind of where they're at. Again, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, right between Puyallup and Tacoma, Zone 8B. We had a mild winter last winter, so keep that in mind when you're looking at them before you get too excited, because until we have a normal winter, I will still, sleep anxiously at night in December, January, February, until I actually see them come to grow. So before I introduce you to those begonias, you got to check out my prop area. I've been working on propagating, doing well with the leaf cut propagating, as well as stem cuts. So I've got a few different things going on. That is all in a couple different areas in the house. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of that. But before I go, before we get to it, not that I'm going anywhere, I got to show you this non-begonia that I found at the Brothers Greenhouse in Port Orchard, Washington. I was given a tip that if I'm into plants, I'm gonna want to check this place out. Oh my gosh. If you're in the area, you gotta check it out. But this next plant has been on my wish list for quite some time. The elusive and getting to be a little more common out there as far as availability. But check that out. It's a corpse flower. This is the, oh my gosh, hang on a sec, let me get the tag so I can read it to you. Because for the price, I couldn't just buy one, I had to get two, a little baby one also. Well, I guess they're both babies, 7 to 9 years before they bloom. But so this is Amorphophallus, Titan, I believe, is the kind it is. One of them actually said that somewhere, but I guess not on that stake. Oh well. Anyhow, follow my channel, check me on socials, because I'll be giving updates over the years. I hope they don't die. I hope I'm able to winter them, grow them in the house, whatever I need to do, because I want one of these suckers to bloom. So until then, I'm just gonna set this aside. Let's show you the propagation stuff that we got going, and then get back here and introduce you to a couple specific begonias. All right, here we go. All right, so you may remember earlier this year, my spare room was converted into a recovery room for some begonias that were struggling. Now it's a propagation and let's see what we can do room. And we've got cuttings and things going on in here. Oh, look, we've got seedlings growing. We have Bipinifida, some leaf cuts, and I'm becoming one of those terrarium people. Don't have my bubbles yet, but I do have some terrarium plants. That was a gift from a fellow member of the Pacific Northwest American Begonia Society chapter. Those three. let's see, 1, 2, and 3. Those 3 were gifts. This is a stem cutting. It had roots. Nothing else has come. That's frustrating. And then if you cut a leaf, stick it in water. Who knows? You might get some roots. I've had a lot of good success getting roots. Let's see if there's any roots on these. Well, this guy is starting, I think, I hope those are roots. I'm excited for that. And you know what? It's just too difficult to look at the rest of those. Most of these were cut recently. Well, that was very anticlimactic. And then in this one, we have, these are mostly leaf cuttings. Yeah, these are all plantlets from leaf cuttings. Quite a variety. I'm feeling really good. My success rate has definitely improved. And then these are some gifts. Oh, and this is some leaf cuts or some stem cuttings of one of today's begonias. Okay, let's hang on. I'm gonna pause. You wait right there. We'll meet back again in the garage where I've converted 2 shelves into growing areas. Okay, so here are 2 shelves in my garage that I've converted to propagation growing areas. Top shelf is for non-begonias. This shelf is for begonias. So, and the ones that require a little extra humidity. But check that out. We got some bipinifida, more bipinifida. I finally figured out how to propagate bipinifida. So now everybody will get a bipinifida. And then I have cuttings of some others that I'll introduce you to as they grow. Some of them are, actually some of them are leaf cuttings. Others are just cuttings that I started. These are some more seedlings that are growing. And then we have a variety of, these were all gifted to me. And then I'm trying to get some with Lacucci. And then we've got some beefsteak back there. And then check out this one here. We got Dindui. We got more bipinifida. We have some other things. Oh, and this one here, right back here, we're going to watch this one. That's a cutting I got off of, well, let's just say it's a cutting I borrowed from a establishment that I visited recently. And we won't say which establishment, but it was not a retail location, so I don't feel like I was stealing. I was just helping them prune it for better shape and quality, and I ended up with a cutting. So, okay, let's get to our begonias of the week. All right, so I said I'm going to introduce you to our begonias of the week. Well, we're not doing this weekly, so the begonias of today are 2 begonias, and then that we're going to specifically talk about, and then we'll hit some other ones. So this first one you just saw recently, where I'd taken some cuttings and I'm trying to propagate a few more of these. This one is Begonia Surherlandii dissecta, otherwise known as Saunders Legacy. Look at that. Now, unfortunately, this one is not currently in bloom. But if you'll recall, well, actually, I don't think I've ever talked about Surherlandii. I have Cold Hardy, the regular Surherlandii, and it has orange flowers, and it looks amazing. Real low growing. This would look amazing in a hanging basket. I'm planting it in the yard because it's reportedly cold hardy. People have hit or miss results with that. So my understanding is most folks will put it in a pot, bring it in for the winter, let it go dormant, put it back out in the spring. I want to see this grow outside. And I got this at, so both of the 2 begonias we're talking about today, I got at Plant LLC from Shayne Chandler. And this one has been on my wish list, so I'm going to put it in the yard. Now, one thing I'm going to try in researching this, so first of all, this is from Southern Africa, a species out of Southern Africa. It's also known as Saunders Legacy. Look that up. Interesting story there. Grows low, But in looking at the light and water requirements for this, while it does not want full sun, this is one that supposedly will do better in a bright indirect light to partial shade. My other Surherlandii I have growing in shade. Last fall, toward the end of fall, when we started getting the heavy marine layers here in the Pacific Northwest, they got hit with powdery mildew, died to the ground. And then they came back this spring. They're doing well. I think they're just starting to flower, but we'll check that out. So Surherlandii dissecta is going to go in the ground for me, and if it dies and my propagations don't work, well, this is $20 I spent for the joy of having it for the summer. But a wonderful person from our local chapter of the American Begonia Society mailed me seeds for this. So if all else fails, I will be growing from seed over the winter to have a few of these, and my hopes is to share. And then if this doesn't come back, well then obviously I'm going to try to overwinter it the following year in using different methods to see if there's one that works, and grow some in pots that I can protect. Oh, look at that. There is just the flower isn't quite opening yet, but you can see that there. Huh. Well, there you go. All right, off to the next begonia, which I'm very excited about. Oh, and I found my clicker. I saw this plant, this next begonia, and I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Because you know me, I like a big leaf. I like a big leaf. Give me a big glossy leaf. Especially if it's going to be cold hardy out in my tropical backyard here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm just excited to be able to share this. I hope you can be excited about this. It's an amazing plant. And I just, in my head, I imagine what it's going to do. Gotta figure out where to put it so it can grow amazing. Okay, check this out. And we're going to call this, well, I'm not going to call it that. I put a different plant stake in there. We're going to call this Begonia Stilinensis Mega. Ba-ba-ba. Check out that leaf. It's bigger than the size of my head. And you know what I saw on the grounds as I was touring his garden? He had a Begonia torsa growing. I challenged him to propagate that baby. So, and by him I mean Shayne Chandler. So, Shayne claims that he collected this and brought this, propagated it, and sold it to me. And that's just not a claim. The selling it to me was a reality. I gave him money, he gave me a plant. Really kind of cool how that worked out. But look at that. Look at how big and thick those stems are. That rhizome is growing nicely. I think we got another, we got another leaf coming out. I cannot find, so I shared with you an episode or two ago all these begonia books I got. I'm still hunting for another one, but I couldn't find either one of these in that. Or the other Cold Hardy I got from Shayne yesterday. So, but this one, Stilinensis Mega, look at just, oh my gosh, look at that leaf. Oh, wow, love it. This is going in the yard. I'm gonna put it in the yard, and then later this summer, early fall, before it freezes, I'm gonna take some cuttings off of that rhizome so I can propagate some over winter. Shayne tells me that up there in the Kingston area, he overwintered it with mulch last winter. But nearby, in a garden that he maintains, manages, cares for, it was overwintered with no protection last winter. But it also survived the previous winter when we had like temperatures down in the mid-teens. and it's doing great. Now, I didn't ask him where he if he mulched it that first winter, but we will find out, because I need more of this in my life and my garden. So again, Begonia Stilinensis. Just, oh, I can't wait to see it flower. And he collected this. You know, I probably should have taken a note. I don't recall what country he collected this in. We'll find that out. Can't find nothing about it on the internet. So we'll have to ask around and get some more information. All right, let's go off on a quick little run around the yard so you can see what I've got growing in the yard. I'll try to make it brief, but if you've watched any of my videos, you know I ramble, but I'll try to make it brief. So as long as we don't step on any dog poo, should go quick. All right, here we go. And we're just focused on the cold hardy ones. All these amazing begonias behind you on my patio, we're not gonna talk about them because we're going for the cold hardy. All right, let's go. All right, off we go. We're looking for begonias. Now, I think this first one we talked about, I think I actually introduced it when I got it. We got Begonia eminensis, so that's new this year, so no idea yet what it's gonna do, but very thinking happy thoughts. And then we have Chandler's Hardy here that overwintered in the greenhouse, and then I planted it. And then right next to it, we have a Lawrensonii that's dead and mushy. A frickin' mole dug a big old tunnel underneath it. So I've tried to replant it. We'll see what happens, but that was new this year. And then that little silver leaf. Yeah, we won't talk about that. I don't even remember what it was, but it's a begonia. We'll see what happens. Now, here's a grandis I got from this great lady down in Chehalis who has just been so generous with begonias for me. I brought that home from her place last summer, planted it, it grew. It's growing this year, a lot bigger than it did last year, and it's got little babies, so that's awesome. Then we have Smooch. That's it overwintered just fine. And then, oh, we have Dark Side of the Moon. So Dark Side of the Moon was planted last fall. It's growing. We're middle of July. I'm really kind of curious to see how much growth I get between now and end of season. I have a big party at the end of August, so I'm hoping I can be excited about it. Another Smooch, another Emiensis, another, see now this Dark Side of the Moon. It's probably doing a little bit better, but still nothing exciting. However, Sterling Moon, this Sterling Moon is already bigger than what it was when I planted it last year, and it came back from nothing. So that I'm very excited about. I will be propagating and taking some cuttings off of that. We have another Smooch, and then we come into, oh, and then I forgot that I planted a Dark Side of the Moon down here too, and maybe that's why it's not doing so well, because I forgot it was there, so I didn't have water on it earlier this year. Who knows? But we have a Lawrensonii. So the next few are new this year. So Lawrensonii, supposedly cold hardy, grows well in Heronswood. We'll see how it does. It's doing pretty good. Coelzii NMJ. We introduced this to you earlier this year when it was still in the greenhouse. So it has not overwintered in the ground, but it's supposed to be cold hardy, and it seems to be growing nicely. So excited. One of my Smooch propagations. This one over here, I don't recall its name. Kind of hit or miss. It's got some new growth. I also think I had some mole trouble with that one. We have another Lawrensonii, another different Lawrensonii from Dan Hinkley's Wyncliffe. It's got some new growth on it. Again, moles, gosh darn it. I don't recall what that is. Oh my gosh. Now I'm curious here of what that is. Hang on just a sec, because my brain is telling me that maybe I bought a Stilinensis, whatever that word is, from Dan Hinkley. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that just be the hoot? Holy crap. Look at that. It sure is. Silletensis. Okay, Silletensis. Now, macrantha. Oh my gosh. I think Shayne Chandler just spelt the word wrong. Well, no, his said mega. This is macrantha. Oh, wow. Gonna have to compare how that looks. Boy, now I feel like a tool. Well, you know, that's what addicts do. They make choices. And you know what? It's another begonia. And if it is the same begonia, now I feel much more comfortable planting the other one elsewhere in different lighting, different water structure, so I can compare notes and see how it does. So again, those two are new this year. So now we're going to get into some ones that were all overwintered. Now, of course, that big beast, Jean Daniels, she did not overwinter in the ground. She was in the greenhouse. Y'all know I went bonkers about those. Here we have Surherlandii. We're going to call it the regular one. They have a variety. No, just Surherlandii. And this will have the orange flowers. We just got started to get some buds on it. And it, for those of you that watch my channel, you know, last fall, late last summer, I was just really excited about how they were just doing amazing, full of flowers. My Hemsliana, that overwintered in the ground, it's coming back really slow though. That's kind of troubling. There's a Chandler's Hardy. Love it. Oh my gosh, that is a thirsty beast though. It needs to be kept moist in the bottom. Otherwise it just wilts. And then we have a Palmata. Another a Grandis. We have Alba and we have Grandis. Alba and whatever the pink one is. That's what we have. And then, oh, a new one for this year. And why is that looking all kind of leany? Is there a hole under there? No. Boy, I don't know. It looks kind of leany. You just never know where those gosh dang moles are. You know what? I'm just gonna, maybe that just needs more water. I'll water that in a little more, but it's a form of Lawrenconii. And then this one I kind of forgot about. That's actually a Sterling Moon, a variety of Sterling Moon that's barely coming back. So I wonder if it'll catch up, or maybe I don't have the right water schedule back here. And then look at all those babies. I need to pot up some of these babies so I can share, spread them throughout the yard, but also just kind of share. So, all right, I'm gonna pause. Well, no, I'm not. We're gonna walk across the yard so we can get to the other area where I've put in some new begonias. But so those begonias were the ones that were overwintered. These next ones are all new to me this year. I'll be doing another video of watch my garden grow very soon. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and you'll find out more about some of this other foliage and things growing. Oh, check that out. We'll come back to this at some point. I put all the random propagations I had going on from begonias, anything that wasn't doing really well but still had seemed to have some life in it. Just throw it in here because I pulled the garlic and it had a big old hole. So, my new area this year, in here we have an annulata. This is supposed to be the Cold Hardy version of the annulata. This is a Dan Hinkley. Though I got it at Secret Garden Growers. I've got some cuttings to try to propagate some more. And then this one I picked up yesterday. This is a Chandler's Hardy variety. I wrote it here. Blaine. So Begonia circumambulata Blaine. And when you see a bush of this with that red on the back, oh my gosh. So, oh, and then we have one other begonia that's planted in the ground. supposedly cold hardy, but you know what? Oh boy, the anticipation could be killing us. But just let go because it's not doing really well. This one actually probably gets too much sun. This is another Lawrenconii. It's got some new leaves coming. You know, I just don't know. You know, there's some gaps in there. So I'm like afraid that those gosh darn moles are creating issues for me. So another Lawrenconii. Okay, so that has been another episode of Confessions of a Begonia Addict. Me. The obsession continues, and it does. It continues. And what I'm currently working on is, you know, so I touched it and showed you a couple things out there that are just kind of like either dead, dying, not really exciting, that were new additions this year. But I do have a mole issue, moles, voles. I think I also saw a rat running across the patio today. But they get in there and they make tunnels, and then the roots have no soil to grow into, and then it fails. The plant fails, or it starts to fail. So I'm not giving up on that. I will continue to baby and bring those along. I'm not going to take anything out of the ground this fall, though. That's just not on the docket for me. Anything in the ground, I will attempt to make room and take some rhizome cuttings, some leaf cuttings, figure out how I can propagate it so I maybe can grow some more additional ones over winter in the house or in the greenhouse. So that'll be the plan. But I will try here, let's say in another month, let's make it a goal in middle August to give you another update. But for now, I need to get my second Stilinensis. They spelled it differently, but I think it's the same plant. This one though said mega, and that one said Martha or marathon or something like that. Who knows if it's the same thing? I guess we'll find out once the plants become of equal size and when they flower. Or maybe if I can get some amazing begonia person to swing by and visit my garden, that I can just, you know, ask a lot of questions, that would work too. So if you haven't bought a begonia recently, go buy one. Find a cool one, get it. Find an ugly one, get it. Find a sad one, revive it. Go to a local meeting of a chapter of the American Begonia Society, and then you don't have to spend no money. People just bring stuff and you trade. Sometimes it's plants, sometimes it's plant material. Maybe it's a seed, but oh my gosh, there are so many kinds of begonias out there. Please, go find one. Even if it's an amazing tuberous one that you can hang on your patio, put it in some partial shade, and enjoy that for the summer. But then come back, watch my video on how to overwinter that tuberous guy so that you're not having to get a new one next year. And every year it gets bigger. Okay, I've rambled on. It's gone too long. It's time to go. Alrighty, thanks for watching.